The modern age has sold you a catastrophic lie that absolute freedom of choice leads to absolute happiness. I tell you the truth. Your greatest anxiety is not caused by having too few choices, but by having too many. You are suffering from the catastrophe of choice. Alan Watts and modern psychology both confirm this profound paradox. Unbounded freedom, the endless possibility of who you could be, what you could do, and where you could go, does not liberate your motivation. It completely paralyzes it. Your will is crushed under the weight of infinite potential. The core problem is this: the moment you have infinite choice, you introduce infinite responsibility. Every decision you make is terrifying because it means you are simultaneously choosing to kill every other possible version of your future. Your motivation is stifled because the fear of choosing the wrong path is greater than the joy of walking the chosen one. The toxic mind, obsessed with optimization and perfection, the myth of perfection, demands that you choose the absolute best possible path among millions. Since true optimality is unknowable, your mind retreats into rumination and indecision, avoiding action altogether. You become functionally incapable of acting spontaneously, remaining a prisoner of your own unfulfilled potential. True freedom, as Watts teaches, is not the freedom to choose anything, but the freedom from the necessity of choosing everything. We must surgically remove this paralyzing burden. The first step in reclaiming your motivation is realizing that you must voluntarily accept necessary, fundamental limitations. You must define your own necessary cage, not to limit yourself, but to finally grant yourself the powerful freedom to act within defined boundaries. The suffering caused by the catastrophe of choice is rooted in a fundamental, irrational demand for optimality. The toxic mind insists that every choice you make, from career path to romantic partner, must be the mathematically best choice possible. This demand is a direct consequence of the myth of perfection we discussed in the previous scenario. But the universe, in its spontaneous flow, Wu Wei, never offers optimal solutions. It offers suboptimal realities. You are faced not with the choice between perfect and bad, but between good enough and good enough. The paralysis sets in because the anxious mind refuses to accept that commitment to one good enough path means closing the door on other good enough paths. This inability to commit is the death of motivation. The individual trapped in the catastrophe of choice remains frozen in the space of planning, perpetually waiting for the impossible signal that guarantees the best outcome. The power of the constraint. Watts and the Eastern traditions teach that true power resides in the constraint. The river gains power not from its freedom to flow anywhere, but from the rigidity of its banks. The banks define the river and give its flow speed and direction. The artist gains freedom not from using all colors, but from choosing a limited palette. The limitation forces creativity and focus. Your motivation is unlocked the moment you voluntarily and consciously impose necessary limits on your own freedom. You must choose a path knowing it is imperfect and suboptimal, and invest your full energy into making that chosen path magnificent. This radical acceptance of imperfection is the necessary act of killing infinite possibility to give life to one profound reality. The great psychological liberation comes when you realize your goal is not to make the perfect choice. Your goal is to make a choice and then make it perfect through your action and commitment. The paralyzing effect of the catastrophe of choice does not just cause indecision, it triggers a powerful, debilitating avoidance mechanism. The fear of making the wrong choice, the fear of having to kill infinite potential, is so overwhelming that the mind opts for the illusion of safety found in stasis, procrastinatio и бездействие. You do not procrastinate because you are lazy. You procrastinate because your subconscious mind recognizes that action is permanent. Every move you make, every job application sent, every idea launched, every commitment sealed, is an irreversible act of defining yourself and, crucially, an act of destruction of all other possible futures. The avoidance mechanism is your mind's frantic, desperate attempt to hold on to all possibilities at once, sacrificing the reality of the present for the illusion of a perfect, uncommitted future. This illusion is toxic because potential is useless until it is sacrificed. Potential is merely a ghost of an idea. Reality is the chosen, limited, imperfect act. The individual trapped by infinite choice remains stuck in the world of ghosts, becoming rich in potential but bankrupt in reality. The profound psychological liberation, therefore, is the act of killing potential, or the act of voluntary limitation. This requires radical psychological honesty. 1. Acknowledge the suboptimal. Accept that your choice will not be the perfect, guaranteed one. It will be good enough at best, and requires your commitment to make it work. 2. Embrace the loss. Willingly mourn the loss of all the paths you did not choose. This momentary sadness is the necessary toll you pay for the freedom to act decisively on the one path you did choose. 3. Act from the constraint. Find liberation in the new self-imposed boundaries. When you consciously choose to focus only on this project, this skill, or this relationship, you free up the massive energy that was previously consumed by the fear of infinite what-ifs. True motivation is not born from freedom from constraints, but from the powerful, spontaneous action within constraints. The overwhelming weight of the catastrophe of choice convinces you that you are entirely responsible for the outcome of your decisions. This is the final layer of the anxiety trap. You believe you must guarantee success, perfection, and optimal results, and this impossible burden is what paralyzes your will. Watts offers a crucial distinction between true responsibility and neurotic anxiety. True responsibility is local. Neurotic anxiety is global. Neurotic anxiety, global. You worry about the stock market, the political climate, the ultimate success of your venture 5 years from now, and the opinions of people you don't know. You are trying to control the entire cosmos. True responsibility, local. You are only responsible for the quality of your action in the present moment. The great psychological liberation is realizing that you are only accountable for the action, not the result. The universe, the spontaneous flow of Tao, will take care of the outcome. Your job is simply to ensure that your effort is true, unburdened, and complete. This shift in focus immediately transfers the heavy weight of the future off your shoulders and onto the flow of the universe, where it belongs. The unburdened self is defined by this single principle: do the action and let the results flow. You act with total commitment because your motivation is sourced from the joy of the act itself, not from the fearful need to guarantee the distant, impossible outcome. This is the core of sustainable, fearless motivation. The path to overcoming the catastrophe of choice culminates in the realization of the undivided will. Your paralyzing indecision was merely the result of your will being fragmented, a small part wanting A, another part wanting B, and the largest part wanting to escape the necessity of choosing at all. True freedom is not found in the chaotic space of infinite options, but in the total spontaneous alignment of your will with the action of the present moment. The 3 acts of final liberation. 1. Embrace suboptimal action. Accept that no choice is perfect, but all choices are opportunities for creative mastery. Your goal shifts from finding the optimal path to making the chosen path magnificent through your committed effort. You conquer the myth of perfection by choosing action over analysis. 2. Unify the will. Stop negotiating with your inner committee, the ego. When a choice is made, even a simple one, execute it with total undivided energy. This unification of energy is the source of all competence and external success. The free person does not look back with regret. They look forward with commitment. 3. Achieve undivided responsibility. You are only responsible for the quality of your effort. Stop attaching yourself to the outcome. When you pour your total energy into the present action, the fear of the future dissolves, because you know you are operating at peak potential. This unburdened action is the highest form of Wu Wei, effortless, effective, and free from anxiety. The ultimate irony of freedom is that it is found through voluntary limitation. By consciously choosing your constraints, your path, your focus, your immediate action, you kill the distracting ghosts of infinite potential and grant yourself the real, tangible power to act. Your motivation is now invincible. It is no longer reliant on external approval or the guaranteed success of the future. It is self-sustaining, sourced entirely from the joy and integrity of your spontaneous, committed action in the present moment.